The Nigerian Armed Forces say some officers will face a military judicial panel over allegations of plotting to overthrow the government. In a statement, the Defense Headquarters confirmed that investigations into the arrest of 16 officers have been concluded and forwarded to the appropriate authorities in line with the Armed Forces Act. The military said the probe uncovered conduct inconsistent with ethics, professionalism, and constitutional loyalty. The officers were detained in October 2025 over alleged indiscipline linked to career stagnation and failed promotion examinations. Military authorities described the action as a disciplinary process aimed at preserving order and operational effectiveness amid renewed public debate following earlier denials of any coup threats. To discuss this, we are joined by security consultant Dickson Osajie. Thank you, Dickson, for joining us on the news. Now, from a security intelligence standpoint, Dickson, what indicators usually alert the military to an internal coup plot before it actually reaches execution stage?
Well, for me, I think there are various indicators, and the first indicator is for, the control personnel or one or two persons who, who have love for powers, trying to overthrow the government of the day. Then secondly, they begin to, speak to, colleagues and other persons that will be interested in the processes. Then all will be in the form of, in a covert mission, So after discussing with one or two of their personnel, then they have assurances of, secret management, and they can proceed for funds and sponsors. Thereafter having sponsors, then they look for a moment to strike. Then after striking, then they look at the government of the day. But in this very time and era, I think such measures is very, very difficult because of the democratic system in place, and also the security design in place from the democratic system of government. So coup d'etat this time around in Nigeria will be very difficult to activate, except in rare cases, but that is going to involve a lot of casualties. So this very coup d'etat here in the country, Nigeria, I think it went wrong simply because of the state of technology, because in the early days there was no technology, so there's no way you can call one person or the other and say, hey, there's a coup d'etat or there's a plan in progress. But this time around, one person from anywhere can just pick a call, use our phone, and call the presidency or call any person close to the presidency to alert them of a coup d'etat. So that is one of the disadvantage points in the technological era in carrying out coup d'etats.
So how significant is it that the Nigerian military itself is announcing these trials rather than a civilian authority?
Well, the Nigerian military, first of all, have lost credibility in the area of information management. And when it comes to information management, we have to be very careful as a country, because the first time the rumor went out from social media, from social platforms, the Nigerian military was so swift to deny that there's nothing like that. And here again, they are coming back yesterday, telling the world that actually there was a coup d'etat. Now, what I'm trying to advise is this. I agree, maybe within that period of time, the information went out. They wanted to make it secret so that those people they are trying to tail do not escape or do not escape. But as a country big as Nigeria, and with with its military might, they should be very careful how to respond to media queries. They should have just remained silent than debunking the information or the news. But for me, I think for now they've announced, they've come out publicly and informed the world that truly there was a coup d'etat, and I think Nigerians will now start looking at ways to get more information from them and also follow the process of the coup d'etat, and also see the repercussions to those found guilty in planning this coup d'etat. If it was a military era, these officers that were arrested would have been long killed or assassinated. If it was a military era, but yeah, we are in a democratic system of government, and I tell you that they're going to follow democratic processes. Once the military are done, is done with the court martial. The next thing they move them to maybe some of them or recommend them for to death by hanging or whatever the case may be. So let's wait and see what the court martial will award this coup d'etat officers.
Okay, so let's talk about the effect of this on the armed forces itself. What impact could this development have on the morale and the cohesion within the armed forces?
It's not going to affect anyone's morale. What the effect is that I think the Nigerian army is going to look within and try to see how they manage this situation. Because if that coup d'etat had taken place, so many military generals would have been killed. Because I got an intelligence also as well that they wanted carrying out that coup d'etat on the parade ground. And if that had happened, the president, the vice president, the senate president, even the chief of army staff service, the service chiefs will all be gone. They will all be eliminated within that period of time. But for me, I think this incident now is going to send a warning to would-be coup plotters that it's not a game as usual. This is the democratic system of government, and they must allow the Constitution of Nigeria prevail. So for me, I don't think it's going to dampen the morale of officers and men. It's only going to, come as a form of shock or surprise to some other officers who are, close to this named and shamed coup d'etat plotters. So for me, I also advise that the federal government should start looking at making things work for the country, making things proper for the country. Also see how they motivate the morale of our officers and men, so that officers like these names I'm saying being displayed don't think about planning a coup against the government. Because for them to plan a coup against the government, they must have assessed one or two social factors and also economic factors bedeviling the Nigerian people, and they strongly believe on their own that they have the capability to come and rescue Nigeria from a state of mess. So for us to stop such kind of act in future, our leaders, our political leaders, must lead us right and also ensure that they don't embezzle our funds, they don't, put the Nigerian state to a state of mess, so that would-be plotters will not have any reasons whatsoever to carry out a coup d'etat.
Okay, this could go in either direction of two ways. So could these trials deter future insubordination, or do you think that it might just deepen mistrust within the ranks?
Well, probably it's going to create a form of mistrust within the ranks, and it will not permanently deter futuristic coup plan. Because I tell you one thing about coup is that you never can tell when it's going to happen. We have people who have love for power, we have people who are greedy for power, we have people who want to snatch power. And if you look around what is happening within the African region, when you go to one or two African countries like our neighbors here, you discover that the military have taken over the affair of the state. Then if you go to Burkina Faso, the military has also taken over the the leadership of the state. So I think one or two persons or some Nigerian officers strongly believe that it's the turn of Nigeria for them to take over the affairs of the democratic system of government. For me, I think that's very wrong, and that's a very, very bad plan from these guys. And whoever advised them, they will succeed. That person is making a mistake. And let me tell you, when President Tinubu came on board, I watched his strategy and his deployment methodology, how he tactically moved in some command structure within Abuja and also protect his perimeters. I say, no, this man is very, very sensible, and I don't think any person would be able to, carry out coup d'etat against him. But let's be clear, if there is a well-organized coup d'etat against the existing government orchestrated by the leaders of the military affairs, they will succeed. There are people who are not even service chiefs. They just try to see how they will take out the government. So they are failed, and I think, futuristically speaking, let's just pray Nigeria gets better so that we don't have one or two dangerous officers, because it stands we have some dangerous officers that can still strike this year or can still strike next year if only the state is ready to make Nigeria great again. So for me, let's start looking at all the modalities and factors that brought these people to think of taking over power from President Tinubu, and work on that line to ensure that we prevent such kind of occurrence from occurring.
All right, security consultant Dickson Osajie, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this very important conversation. We will see, how this turns out regarding the alleged coup plot, and we're hoping that it enforces stability, because the last thing that we want is disruption within power. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.